We've covered D4 and we've covered Path of Exile, but sitting right in between them is Last Epoch. Now, just announced, actually, right here, trade and item factions for Last Epoch, the developer overview. This just launched 2 hours ago, so I'm kind of excited to see what they have in store for trade and item acquisition.
Greetings, travelers. I'm Judd Kobler, founder of 11th Hour Games and game director for Last Epoch. Today, we will be discussing the highly anticipated item faction system coming to the full release of Last Epoch on February 21st. We're very excited to release this innovative new way for players to participate in the deep and rewarding item hunt that Last Epoch offers in the way that they like to play. By joining the Merchants Guild, you will be able to buy, sell, and trade items through the bustling bazaar.
So there's your answer to whether or not there will be an auction house and trade will be allowed. There will be trade in Last Epoch, and it looks like the bazaar is sort of their answer to the auction house.
Or, if you choose to join the Circle of Fortune, you'll set your sights to the stars and be able to bolster your item acquisition through prophecies and increased item drop rates. This system is the result of many years of debating what the ideal trade system should look like in a loot-based action RPG, tons of collaboration with our amazing community, and many sleepless nights of game design meetings with our game design team.
From my understanding, this is their answer, the solo self-found type of situation. It's effectively sort of like Magic Find. You do quests, you go, you acquire a reward from doing these different, tasks, let's call them, and you get bonuses towards your drop if you choose to go sort of the constellation route. Whereas if you go the trade route, then obviously there's free trade available, and there's the pros and cons that come with a trade league.
We found through extensive polling that players of action RPGs are split nearly down the middle when it comes to those who want their experience to heavily involve trade and an economy, and those who want to focus on finding items themselves or with close friends.
This is completely correct. In Path of Exile, for instance, they have the solo self-found. You have set up solo self-found in Diablo 4. People are, calling themselves solo self-found. They don't trade or group or anything like that as well. I've done one of those characters myself. This is very true with ARPGs. It does seem like there's people that really enjoy almost the single-player experience with ARPGs, and there's people that really enjoy the trade. And there's also people that enjoy both. For instance, I actually enjoy both. I've been playing Path of Exile. I started with the Trade League, but now I've been playing the hardcore solo self-found because they fundamentally feel almost like different games, and they teach me different things. The Trade League teaches me how to blast through offensively and get the best items I need for my build, as well as the economy, whereas the solo self-found, particular in hardcore, is teaching me like defensive properties, how to stay alive, as well as how to use everything in the game to get the best item possible, how to craft my own items, etc. So they do actually feel very different when it comes to building out your character and acquiring that power fantasy, and there's different dopamine sort of achievements that come along with how you're feeling about how your character's progressing.
We believe that through the item faction system, we will deliver a tailored and exciting path to hunt for top-tier items for both camps of players.
Okay.
In Last Epoch 1.0, you will join a faction once you reach the great mercantile city of Majelka. When you select to join the Merchants Guild or the Circle of Fortune, a new interface will become available that will let you access details about your current status with your faction, known as reputation, how much favor you currently have, and what benefits your faction is currently providing you. Let's talk about these briefly.
And from my understanding, a faction is almost like a league in Path of Exile. What kind of character you're selecting. If you pick the Bazaar, you are sort of acquiring trade items and can trade the trade items. If you pick the other one, you're going to get bonuses to the drops. That way it actually helps balance. Being acquiring the items by yourself can be very difficult. I know in Path of Exile, there's times where it's like, I really need this certain unique, but I just can't get it. So I'm stuck in like an RNG moment. But Last Epoch is supposed to have a system, I think they're about to get into here, that allows you to sort of focus down and acquire the items you're actually looking for, but doing it yourself.
Reputation within a faction is a core part of how the faction is going to be benefiting you on your journey. As a representative of that faction, you will continue to increase your reputation by killing enemies and completing quests. For the Merchant Guild, this includes participating in the Bazaar and completing trades at your current level. And for the Circle of Fortune, this means completing prophecies that will divine certain items after fulfilling the foretold conditions.
Yep, that's right there what I'm talking about. So this is a cool system because, like I'm mentioning, one of the issues with like sort of the solo self-found grind is it's super fun to, chase down your own items and get that drop yourself. But there'll be times you'll go an entire character and you don't get any of the items that you need on the character, and you just can't complete your build just because you're not getting the drop. So this is sort of a way in which it's like, oh, you want this very certain, let's call it an axe, okay? You want this axe? Well, do this, this, and this, and this, and you can have it sort of a chase goal in order to acquire the items you need without having to use a trade league.
Through earning reputation, you will ascend ranks within your faction, earning you unique benefits and options. Once you have earned reputation within a faction, that reputation stays with your account in that game mode. This means if you rank up a cycle character, all of your other cycle characters will have that rank when they join the same faction and contribute to that faction's reputation gain.
Okay, so this is very much like Renown in Diablo, for instance, where it carries between your characters of the same type, hardcore or softcore. Or, for instance, this would also be the same as like a League in Path of Exile, where my hardcore Soul of Soulfound characters, benefit the other hardcore Soul of Soulfound characters. Like an Atlas tree, for instance, that's within all your characters.
You may switch factions and earn and maintain reputation with them with no penalty to your earned reputation with the other.
That's nice.
There are currently 10 ranks to achieve in each faction, with the later ranks requiring quite a bit of commitment in order to obtain. So, while you have the freedom to change your faction at any time, you will want to pick a faction and stick with it to reach the most powerful benefits that they have to offer.
Okay, so that's how they're going to balance the fact that, like, you don't want someone to go trade, buy all the items they need, and then swap over to solo self-found, for instance, and just have all these trade items to be an obvious loophole. So it sounds like they're having balancing mechanics around that.
It's important to note that you can only be a member of one faction at any given time per character, and items earned with the benefits from those factions will require that you are aligned with them in order to use them.
There you go.
Most players
There's
will
the
want
solution
to
to
stick
that.
to a faction that rewards their preferred playstyle.
Okay, so that way you can do both on the same character. For instance, I was just saying this the other day. I really like my current Path of Exile character I've been streaming, and I'll be live actually today, as a matter of fact, as of the posting of this video, if you wish to see this character. But I was almost wishing I could migrate him over to softcore or something so that, when I die, I don't lose my character because of how much I like it. But obviously, you don't want to have the benefits of one and then be able to, migrate your character, et cetera. So it's sort of the same thing here, where effectively they don't want you, like I'm saying, to be able to pop off and trade and go to the others. So they're limiting the item acquisition. If you were able to go into solo self-found with the bonuses of being able to acquire the items faster and then move those over to trade and then sell them, that would be the way to do it. So they're stopping that.
Next, let's talk about favor. Favor is the currency you will earn while slaying enemies or completing quests for each of the factions. Favor is separate from reputation. This currency can be used to either complete trades with the Merchants Guild or acquire new prophecies from the Circle of Fortune. And if you find yourself with excess favor, you can always spin the wheel with the Faction Gambler. Item gifting to party members has been in the game for a while now, and it isn't going anywhere. However, it's important to note that once you have joined a faction, items will start being tagged with the faction you were part of when they dropped.
That makes sense.
This means that while questing, if you are a member of the Merchants Guild, and an item drops for you, that item will still be shareable with anyone who is in the party, like always, and be available to be sold, provided that you meet the rank requirements in the Merchants Guild Bazaar. Just be sure that the person you are trading it to also meets the same faction requirements. The last use case we wanted to solve for are friends who choose to play together and just want their own little trade group, which brings us to resonances, which are a new type of item that can be found when you are questing with your friends or party members.
Interesting.
This item can be used to enable an item to be gifted specifically to the player that you have a resonance with, even if they weren't there when the item dropped. We know a lot of times players will play with their friends, and then later you'll be soloing a piece of content, and the perfect item drops for your buddy. Well, thanks to the new resonance system, you will be able to give them that perfect item the next time you see them.
Oh, that's super nice. So this allows you to solve the problem of, like, in Path of Exile, people would do multiple person solo self-found. They do like group found, where it's effectively they make their own rules, where, okay, I can only trade with this guy, etc. And they have to sort of in-house develop their own rule sets around this. This is a way that allows you to, okay, I'm going to do kind of my own thing, but I'm going to pair with my wife or whatever, right? And then you can go out, you can play, you can have these items be tradable with the other people. This is actually super cool, to be honest. I wish there was this implemented in more games.
As those of you who love loot-based action RPGs know, trade and economy is a very complex and divisive issue to solve for when catering to a large player base and different playstyles. I'm
also curious about, they said the currency that you get is basically the reputation currency. I'm wondering if that reputation currency is ramps, where the farther you get in the game, you get more of it, or if it's a steady, drip. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how exactly that currency is acquired in mass, and how that affects inflation going down into the game. Because inflation, for instance, is a huge issue with Path of Exile right now, as people are getting currency like crazy. Whereas this one, you actually have a dedicated reputational trade currency.
While keeping the item acquisition hunt feeling great. We can't wait to get your feedback on the system that we've come up with alongside you, and we thank you for all of your continued input and passion for helping make Last Epoch the next great action RPG. There is so much more to explore with the item faction system, so check out the deeper dive we have on our forums, and we look forward to seeing you in Last Epoch February 21st.
Yep, the game comes out February 21st. I 100 billion% will be playing it because it is going to be like I say, I think it's going to be a nice middle ground between D4 and Path of Exile. I think this one's actually going to rope a lot of people in because I have played it already. So I'll play it on launch as well. And it is much easier to get into to understand. The crafting is fairly in depth, but it's fairly easy to understand. It seems like there's like they call them use cases. They're trying to solve a lot of the problematic areas and allow people to interact with each other as much as possible. Allow your character, let's say you really love with thousands of hours and doesn't get locked to just one league, but also solve the issue of, well, you can't really be bringing with you power from a trade league to a non-trade league, etc. So, super interesting to see what this is going to be. Also, as an announcement, the Last Epoch team, some of the devs there said they would actually come on the live stream. I believe this is happening Wednesday, would be my understanding for this. Yes, next Wednesday, the 17th. They will be on my Twitch channel for an interview with me and my co-host Gazi TV. So if you're interested in watching that, you can find the link to the live stream down below. I will actually be live as of right now playing Path of Exile, and we can talk about the Last Epoch. Feel free to leave some of the questions you would like to know if there was something not answered in the video, as well as questions in general just about the game, and I will pick through those when it comes to that dev interview. That's about it. This itemization and trade is a huge part of ARPGs. I feel that way, and I 100% agree with the fact that it's split down the middle. Some people don't like trade, some people really like trade, and it does seem to be a pretty even split from what I've seen in both communities for the ARPGs I've been part of so far. So interested to see how they solve that solution. That's about it. Thanks for watching the video. Love you all, and I'll see you on the live stream.